One of the biggest problems faced by first world people, the industrialized West, is growing debt. And this is a very reoccurring theme that comes up in every single election that ever takes place. Now, according to Statistics Canada, the amount of consumer debt being taken on the Canadian public is increasing. In fact, in 2014 alone, it increased by 7.7%. And this is a problem. People seem to have a laissez-faire attitude towards debt right now, simply because what's been shoved down our throats, that interest rates are at an all-time low, and life is great, and the economy is not bad. It all just gives people a false sense of security. Now, Credit Debt Solutions Canada has every reason to be concerned, because this is a debt repackaging service. Meaning if you can't pay your debts, they consolidate it and make it easier for you to pay. In other words, if people end up not being able to pay their debts at all, then this company can't make any money. I mean, they can't make money off your debt if you can't actually pay that debt back. But if you don't borrow enough money, then they can't make any money at all either. So they're really very interested in a kind of a balance between really being able to pay and kind of not being able to repay, meaning it has to be slightly bad, but not too bad. And of course, they are experts in this field, which is why they're there. And they do recognize a problem. They seem to be understanding that there's like a risk of a whole bunch of defaults all at once. All of this stems from something Marx pointed out, fictitious value. Credit is essentially value that's held before the actual creation of value in production. Meaning money is borrowed like consumer debt. It has to be paid back or realized with real value, which comes out of workers' wages or salaries or what have you. The thing is, that value always has to be eventually created in order for it to be paid back. And if it's not created, it doesn't get paid back. All of this value remains fictitious until it is paid back through the act of the creation of value in physical commodity production. For the West, the industrialized West, credit has been one of the saving graces of the capitalist system. As demand for products begin to fall, there's also a loss of the rate of profit, or profits tend to decline for companies. One of the solutions of that is consumer credit, where they can buy something ahead of them actually having the money to pay it. Then eventually they can pay it back. Of course, assuming that they can pay it back. And this is intended to stimulate consumer purchases. This is another one of the things done to stave off some of the falling rate of profit. One of the other things is planned obsolescence. One of those things where Zeitgeist thinks it is the one who made the discovery that companies make things cheaply just so they'll break and you'll have to buy another one. This is another part of that same aspect of capitalism. Credit, 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 no value creation. That's what we're looking at. That's what Statistics Canada is worried about. We are just borrowing and borrowing and borrowing, but there's not a creation of corresponding value that can pay down all that debt. Now, what they're worried about really is the new home equity loans that people are making. In other words, they borrow against the cost of their house. Now, that's become an increasing trend considering that home prices in Canada have just recently risen by 6% or so. So the thing is, they're borrowing that, but they're not getting the wages to pay it back. So when you have a situation where consumer borrowing keeps increasing, but wages from actual physical commodity production, the creation of value, isn't matching it, you're looking at a defaulting on a whole ton of these loans, this consumer credit. And in doing that, people begin losing their homes and not being able to pay their mortgages. Even if they don't lose their home and just have an increased difficulty in paying their mortgages, housing values can tend to go down because people aren't out buying because they're having difficulty holding on to the one that they have. And this all can have a big domino effect, having a tremendous effect across the entire economy. Home prices are a big deal in Western countries, particularly Canada and the United States, where home ownership is such a big, social value to people, and is such a huge part of the economy. And I think that's what Statistics Canada is actually worried about in this situation. And continuing defaulting on debts, particularly when they relate to homes, can have a devastating effect across the entire economy. If you like this video and you'd like to see more of them, then head over to my Patreon page and show your support. Or you can go to the MRN bookstore and check out some of the latest books available. Don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe, and share on various social media.